We welcome in my broadcast partner on the Bills Radio Network, Eric Wood, who joins us now after, I don't know. I mean, these last two games, it'd be pretty hard to stack back to back on the fun meter any better than this. I mean, I talked about it on the morning show with the guys on GR. You hear the Harbaughs always saying, who's got it better than us? Who's had more fun than us in the last 3 weeks? Seriously.
No, I agree. And you throw the bye week in there as well. And hopefully you guys had some fun on the bye week too. But no, I'm with you, Chris. After that Kansas City game at home, I said that might have been the most fun I've ever had on a broadcast. It was just big boy football. It wasn't a blowout. Both teams were making plays. You saw some vintage Mahomes types plays. Josh made plays. There was turnover. I mean, it was just an exciting, competitive game to call. And then last night, obviously not quite as competitive, but with the snow falling and people slipping and falling, and then some nice run game on both sides. Josh to put on a performance like he did. It was another special night, that's for sure.
Well, as we get into it, a little bit of the big picture, we came into these last couple of games before the bye. You had the Chiefs, Niners, Rams, Lions, 4 games that looked like, wow, I don't know. You really got to get ready to play it. Now, the way the Bills have won these first 2 games going into L.A., no doubt they may be a road favorite against the L.A. Rams going in there. This sets up, and think about it, if the Bills beat the Rams, find a way to beat the Rams, and the Chargers step up to beat the Chiefs, in 2 weeks, the Detroit Lions as the 1 seed in the NFC and the Bills as the 1 in the AFC. That shapes up to be an absolute marquee matchup. In the big picture, the Bills are really, I don't know if you could ask for them, even if they're the 1 seed right now, you couldn't ask for a better spot for them to be in, particularly the way their roster's shaping up.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They're getting healthy at the right time right now. And then the way those final 3 games of the season sit with teams that are eliminated from the playoffs, how much fight are those teams going to have in them? Who are they even going to be play? Is Aaron Rodgers going to play for the Jets at that point? That's all to be determined. So you got to go take care of business these next 2 weeks and then hope that Kansas City can drop one along the way. But you're right. That is going to be a big boy matchup in Detroit in a couple weeks against 2 of the league's, teams that everyone wants to root for. Everyone loves Dan Campbell and the Lions and their story and how much heart they play with. And people love watching Josh Allen and this Bills team. They're just so likable. The personalities, the style of play with both teams. It has a shot to break that Chiefs record or the Chiefs number that the Bills Chiefs games put up a couple weeks ago. Biggest audience on television since 2007 in a Brady Manning matchup. It has a chance to break that one if both teams, I'll just say this, not if, especially if both teams handle their business this weekend. So the Bills got to go across the country to LA. It's a familiar trip for them. And most of the guys on the roster had made that trip out there these last couple years. They obviously beat the Rams 2 years ago, and then they traveled all the way out there last year in a head coaching change. Gift Smith inspired Charger team able to get the win when they absolutely had to. Playoffs were completely on the line, but they got it done these last couple of years going out to LA.
Yeah, we'll talk about the point-scoring prowess of this Bills team in a minute, but I want to give the defense and special teams a little bit of credit here. We knew the Bills had at least 1 takeaway in each of their first 11 games, and they get 3 takeaways via fumbles, 2 of them forced. 1 on special teams on a shot by Cole Bishop that coughs the ball loose from Deebo Samuel. The other, obviously, a humongous play by Taylor Rapp. Kyle Juszczyk's going in for a touchdown from the 5-yard line, and he punches it out with yet another peanut punch. He also had a touchdown-saving tackle on Christian McCaffrey before that in the first quarter. Actually leads to Christian McCaffrey's injury, but just the job by Taylor Rapp and company here all season long in getting extra possessions for this Bills offense.
Yeah, when you're a defense that can take the football away, you can really put your offense obviously in a position to be able to score more points. This is a Bills team, and some of it's just the way that the Bills have blown teams out, so they haven't had to keep their foot on the gas the entire game. And, you have a couple offensively lackluster performances in those early 2 losses in the season. But, when you look at the yardage and all of that from this Bills offense, it doesn't necessarily equate to what you see when you look at the points per game. The Bills went into last night top 3 in the NFL in points per game, but the couple of reasons for that is, one, they're getting a ton of turnovers defensively for the Bills, so they're putting them in good positions, and then also when you look at their red zone scoring percentage, they went 4 for 4 scoring touchdowns in the red zone last night. They came into that game 6th in the NFL. I expect them to jump now into the top 5. And so when you're able to take the football away from the other team, play pretty sound on special teams, and you're able to score touchdowns in the red zone, well, now that's going to give you that top 3 scoring offense in the league.
Yeah, and as you look back, the Bills now are 50. They were 50% again last night on third down and 100% on fourth down. They're climbing the rankings after struggling out of the gate. When they're finding out more and more about the guys on their team. I said this to Brownie, and I've been making this point for a couple of weeks now. They got so many guys at the skill positions on this team that have come through and contributed to wins and become dependable parts of the offense. Defenses are really going to have a full menu of guys they got to match up with. It's a real problem for this offense. It's like we thought it might be if you spun everything positive at the beginning of the year with if all these question marks turn out to be the answers, yes. Well, that's where they are. That's where they are right now. And as you said, they're getting healthy. What are defenses going to be up against when a Cooper is healthy, fully healthy, when Keon Coleman's back on the field, Kincaid's back on the field, and you got all these other guys that have been winning games anyway?
Well, you said it correctly, Steve. This is what we hoped the offense was going to look like, and it's turned out to be true, where you have everybody contributing and everybody that you'd hope to make steps. Keon Coleman's made some plays as a rookie. Well, Amari Cooper wasn't there in the preseason. You go out and get a, guy that established number 1 receiver throughout his career. You missed Dalton Kincaid these last 2 weeks. At the beginning of the season, we would have said that was our number 1 threat in the passing game. That's the guy we can't lose. And we see Dawson Knox step up and do what he always does, especially late in the season. I made that point in the broadcast last night, Chris. It's like as the season goes on, it gets later and colder. Man, I'm throwing it to Dawson Knox in those snowy, windy games. It's almost like at times he'll use more body and arms just to secure the football, not worry as much about the yards after the catch. But that guy shows up in playoff games in Orchard Park, these December games. But it's going to be tough. This Bills offense is tough to prepare for. And to me, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a former center, it starts with the guys up front. When you're great in pass protection and you're great in the run game, you become very tough to prepare for as a team because, yes, the Bills have weapons all over the field, and likely the NFL's MVP at quarterback. But when you go into a game and you have an offensive line that can road grade you, and they're also hard to penetrate with just a 4-man rush, so you can't really get to the quarterback, they're going to make enough holes in the run game. Well, now it's like, okay, yes, I got all these weapons, but we don't have a weakness. There's no weakness. I mean, you looked at that San Francisco offense last night, and even without Ayuk not out there and, McCaffrey's kind of hobbled heading into the game, their offensive line was weak enough that we weren't that worried about them. Yeah. And so, to me, this Bills offensive line is an X factor on that side of the ball.
Let's talk about Matt Milano's return to the lineup. He gets 37 snaps last night out of the 48 that the defense was on the field. That's 77% of the snaps. We saw him come off the field during the dime package downs, mostly on third downs. Probably shaking off some rust, as you would expect, after missing almost 14 months of regular season football. But what did you see from him through the course of the game last night?
Yeah, to me, the second-level defenders last night it was tough. None of them have footing. You saw what the Bills were able to do in the run game to the 49ers, and at times the 49ers were able to gash some runs. When you don't have footing and you have to react to what the offense is doing, it can be difficult, especially when it's your first action in 14 months. But to me, I'm just excited about him being able to get back in the flow of the game. They didn't have a huge snap count defensively, and they took him off for a few, dime plays here and there, and then, backups in maybe towards the end of the game, but at a few different spots. But to me, it's awesome to see him back out there. It was great to me to even see him not necessarily even be on a every other series rotation, which would maybe allude to him not being in game shape. I know I played with Matt Milano for one season. I know what his work ethic looks like. You can tell by the way his physique is, how hard he works. And so to me, it was a great sign that, hey, this isn't a guy that we have to work back into playing shape. Yes, we're going to keep our dime package the same for now. I would expect that moving forward, there would be a lot of times where we play the dime package similar to Kansas City, where take a defensive tackle off the field and leave Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard out there. But Matt's as good as it gets. The media doesn't get to see a ton from Matt because he's so quiet, but a great person, great player. It was heartwarming to see the ovation he got when he ran out of the tunnel last night.
Yeah, and there's no question, too, the type of player he is and the way we've come to know him is perfect for what this defense seems to be about this year, and defense and good defenses within the NFL at large. They're playmaking. It's hard to be a defense that stifles the run, and you can't get a pass off on them because of the limitations of what it takes to play defense in the league in this day and age. You kind of have to be a really good defense. You got to be playmaking. You got to make things happen. You got to tip passes. You got to pick passes off. You got to punch the ball out on the goal line. All that stuff. And that's how we came to know and love Matt Milano. That's exactly what he does. Now you got Terrell Bernard. That's what he does. Taron John. It seems to be the exact right type of player to raise the whole level of this defense. We saw it last night. They should have had 4 turnovers. They got the 3 fumble recoveries, and then Damar Hamlin's interception got called back. We were rolling our eyes like, I hope this isn't going to be one of those kind of games. But you could have chalked up 4 turnovers last night. That's exactly what it takes to be a difference-making defense in this day and age of the NFL, and that's what Matt Milano fits exactly into.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 10 career interceptions. He's forced a ton of fumbles. He's always heading to the football, so he gets a lot of fumble recoveries. To me, he gets a lot of tackles for loss. So those are drive stoppers. Okay,
right.
No, you can't go into a game and just get the ball ran down your throat like you did at Baltimore. Obviously, that we all know that's the case. But if teams aren't able to chunk you on the ground, as soon as you go get one of those tackles for losses, you stop them for 3 yards. Think back to last night, San Francisco's drive, and they tried this like cute little draw in the backfield. They stopped them for a 5-yard loss. Now they're at 2nd and 15. They might have called it a 4-yard loss. 2nd and 14, drive stops, missed field goal. Bills get the ball back. It's those linebackers can make those plays in the backfield. Those are the guys that when we headed into the week, we'd say, okay, this guy over here, he's a jag. He's just a guy. These guys, they play downhill. They can make the plays that, are going to end drives for us, not sit back and make plays at 5 and 6 yards over and over. These are the guys that make plays in the backfield. Bills have 2 of them in Terrell Bernard and Matt Milano. They're also both great in pass coverage, which to have 2 of those guys on the second level of your defense is extremely valuable.
All right, so let's take a brief look at how the AFC conference looks now, Eric, and the Bills' place in it. We know they're still behind the Chiefs, who pull out yet another one. I'm convinced they've made a deal with Satan as to how to use dark magic to win football games. But that being said, you've got other teams that are right on Buffalo's heels. Pittsburgh's offense looks like it's raised itself to the level of their defense, and they look like a complete football team right now. As a matter of fact, they're the only team in the league with more takeaways than the Bills, with 25 in 12 games, and they are 9-3. They do have some tough games left on their schedule, but they're right there. Chargers are very quietly sneaking into this conversation, and I think the only reason people haven't looked at them longer is because the Chiefs are still ahead of them in their division. And Baltimore has a kicker problem and a fourth-quarter points allowed problem that is one of the reasons why they have slipped to 8-5. And then you have an upstart Denver team who can move to 8-5 and pull even with the Ravens if they can win on Monday Night Football tonight. Who do you look at as teams that are cresting similar to the Bills right now that people should keep an eye on here down the stretch?
Yeah, I would say mainly it would be Pittsburgh. Obviously, we're chasing Kansas City. I think that there is certainly losses that could be had out there for the Chiefs. I mean, you play the Raiders and the Panthers these last 2 weeks, and fortunate to squeak both of those ones out. I mean, they're completely playing with fire. You talk about making a deal with the devil. Well, ever since Justin Tucker messed with um, Travis Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes before the game, he's had his struggles. So that curse, that's like, yes, they can win them games, but they can also put that curse on you and make your career go away. Like they have Justin Tucker, who prior to that looked like the best kicker maybe in NFL history. All that being said, Pittsburgh to me, just based upon the fact that the AFC North isn't quite what we thought it would be from a competitive standpoint. They get that win last week against the Bengals. Offense is rolling, defense is still healthy, and it's a playmaking defense as well. Cincinnati's still able to put up a ton of points on them. I believe 38 points yesterday, but that Bengals defense is awful right now. The biggest threat to me, obviously, for the 1 seed is Kansas City, because you got to go chase them, and then for someone to potentially come up and take the 2 seed from us, the Steelers to me seem like you mentioned it, very complete team. Very tough remaining schedule. I appreciate you guys putting up that graphic. Me and Chris were talking about it yesterday, but I couldn't remember exactly the remaining schedule. But you have that Philly game, the Baltimore game, and Kansas City game still left for the Steelers. But it's gonna be a fun rest of the way. To me, it's yes, it's great that the Bills were able to close out the AFC, week 13. But to me, with that 1 seed still very much in play, that makes it very easy for Sean McDermott to say, look, we got 5 weeks left. We got to get better every single week. And then we'll worry about, our bye week will be first week of the playoffs. And I believe that's what the message will be, throughout these, remaining 5 weeks.
All right, Eric. Well, we appreciate the time as always. We'll see you out LA way at the end of the week. All right. Be good.
Yep. Sounds good. Looking forward to it, guys.